Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, News-Free Dixie for the 21st century.
Welcome, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Art of It Stinks. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, edutainment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, The Art of It family. And we got a lot of things going on in the world as usual, but let me start with this. Let's talk about predictive programming. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about it. Predictive programming. Okay, I say predictive programming. I know some of y'all may or may not know what predictive programming means, but take a look. It's all online. And basically, predictive programming is using media to manipulate the masses to prepare for future realities. Basically, predictive programming is the use of media to manipulate the masses in order to prepare for a new normal, a new future, a new reality. Like Brother Malcolm X once said, the most powerful entity on the planet is the media because it can control and influence the minds of the masses. So this media ain't no joke, y'all. It prepared us for a Trump presidency, as according to The Simpsons, as people already noted. It prepares you for the first black president, as noted by Hollywood films like Deep Impact with Morgan Freeman, and also the 24 series, which had black presidents featured prominently in the 24 series. So it prepared us for a quote-unquote first black president. So I want to consider this. I'm going to throw this out there, and I want to get y'all feedback on this. You know, we just recently lost the comedic icon and trailblazer Mary Tyler Moore. Yesterday, she died at the age of 80, natural causes, as they say. But my thing is this: as soon as I thought about Mary Tyler and her famous, pioneering Mary Tyler Moore show, something ran across my mind, because I got a way of thinking that's kind of different from your average bear. Hey, boo-boo, I'm not your average bear. Aye. Okay? I'm not the average bear. I'm like a yogi. And what came across my mind was, did they use the Mary Tyler Moore show to destroy the black family? Was the Mary Tyler Moore show predictive programming to help destroy the black family? Now, hear me out now. I know people say, man, Ron, you really stretching it this time. But I'm a thought provocateur. My job is to get y'all to think. I'm not interested in how you think or what you think about or how to control your thinking, but I just want you to think for yourself and to consider all the possibilities. People say, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, it's not a conspiracy when the system is a conspiracy. That's the conspiracy. A lot of y'all don't know that the system is conspiring against you in all areas of human activity, especially if you are a black person. So I say all this to say, was the Mary Tyler Moore show used to destroy the black family? You think about, I'll think about a quote, or think about an interview that former First Lady Michelle Obama did. She said I think she saw the Mary Tyler show the Mary Tyler Moore show for the first time around the age of 10 or 11 years old. And she thought to herself, and then I realized, according to what she was saying in the interview, then I realized that there was more to being a woman, just to be a wife and raise and bear kids, that I could be more than just that having a family is an option, that raising a family or being married is an option. We don't have to do that. We could be independent and successful. So the Mary Tyler Moore show, Mary Tyler Moore was the TV wife of Dick Van Dyke, a very popular, icon in his own right. He had his own TV show, and she was his TV wife. And then she got her little spinoff, whatever you want to call her own show, called the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which deals with a single woman making it in the big city, a single independent woman making it in the big city. Now, my thing about this, everybody talking about they want to be single and independent and all this stuff. There's no such thing as an independent person in the system. Once again, there is no such thing as an independent person in this system. We are all interdependent. We are all interdependent. If you was truly independent, you would need a system to support your needs. You would need a system to help. You wouldn't need a neighborhood. You could be by yourself, and we're not made to be alone. Humans are very social beings. We need human interaction, so we all are interdependent. No one man stands alone as an island. But I say all this to say what I think is interesting is, like, think about the women's rights movement, the women's movement that came out of the civil rights movement, not necessarily the traditional women's suffrage movement, which led to the right to vote. But I'm more interested in the white woman's feminist movement that came out of the civil rights movement, that basically took the template of the civil rights movement and was able to get what they want to get. Because remember that affirmative action, all these civil rights things that were passed in the 60s, the true beneficiaries of those things were white women. Like, the people that benefited most from affirmative action were white women. This is stats. This is not fantasy. This is not made up reality. This is not fake news. This is real news, that the people that benefited mostly from affirmative action were white women. And who are they using to tear down affirmative action? White women. When you have minority business owners, white women are considered minority business owners. But a lot of times you have white women fronting for white-owned or white male-owned companies. So the white man is using his woman to get minority benefits. If you make up the rules, you control the system. See how it works? So you think about this. You think about the civil rights movement, where we were strongest as a people. We had black man, woman, and child working together for their liberation. Look at the Montgomery bus boycott. Look at Project C Birmingham. Even look at the Mississippi Freedom Movement. Don't look at Freedom Summer. Even Freedom Summer was inspired by a black man named Dick Gregory, who sent supplies and food to the black folks in Greenwood, Mississippi, when the government cut it off. When the Kennedy government cut out their welfare benefits down in Greenwood, it was Dick Gregory who got a plane and got some food and supplies with the help of Hugh Hefner, of all people, to send food and stuff down to the black folks in Greenwood, which inspired the Freedom Summer movement, where you had white and black college students going down south to help register black people to vote and learn how to read and write. But here's the thing. If you look at, the movement in and of itself, black women were very important in organizing the civil rights movement. And you think about, you look at the white feminist movement, how it hijacked that was that it got black women say, look, you don't need a family. You don't need to stay at home. Get out in that workforce. Be independent. And this is after centuries of black women raising white folks' families, right? Using my ancestors' breast milk for their ancestors' survival. Neglecting our family. Even creating family in the horrors of slavery. Somebody like Sojourner Truth, who was a feminist in her own right, and said, am I not a woman? She was a feminist, but she also believed in family. Even when slavery destroyed her family many times over, she sought out to be remarried and to start anew. So families and really extended families are very important in the black community. People always accredited Hillary Clinton with, it takes a village. She got that from an African proverb. Family is such an important part of black folks. Even after the Civil War, one of the first things that black people did after the Civil War was try to find their family members. They're trying to search around the country. Even in slavery, you had black folks saving up money to buy the so-called freedom of their family members. Think about Denmark Vesey. Think about Brother Sam Meacham in St. Louis. You have all these black folks saving up money, try to buy their families out of slavery. Or black folks like Harriet Tubman going across time and time again the Mason-Dixon line to rescue her family. And black folks in general. But, get back, I'm going to all this verbiage. But if you look at a show like Julia, because people cry about Mary Tyler Moore, but what about would they cry for Diane Carroll? Diane Carroll was a trailblazer and icon in her own right. Look at her show. Julia came out before the Mary Tyler Moore show. Julia dealt with a black nurse it was trailblazing in the fact that it's one of the first times that you see black women portrayed in a different profession besides being a maid or, somebody like that. You see a black woman being a middle-class professional, being a nurse, but here's the kicker though. She's widowed. She got a little son about the age of 6 to 9, between the ages of 6 and 9 years old. This show was on for 3 seasons. It premiered back in September of '68. This is just a couple months after the assassinations of Dr. King and Robert Kennedy. So this show was premiered back in September of 1968. And, it was like, it was interesting reception. But the thing about it is, in that show, there are no major black male figures in that show. The major male figure in that show is an older white man who's a doctor, who's basically her boss. He has more influence over her child than any so-called black man in a minor role in that show. So it's interesting. Like, you think about, I had a chance to talk to Eric Monty, the guy who actually created the Jeffersons and Good Times, how they had to fight for the right to have a black father on Good Times. They didn't want a black father on Good Times originally. They didn't want no damn James on Good Times originally. But the black writer, Eric Monty, they fought for that against Norman Lear. And you know how they end up killing off the black father in Good Times eventually, and then the show took another turn. So is this a conspiracy to break up the black family? Because I told you in the show Julia, before Mary Tyler Moore's show, Diane Carroll character was a widow, didn't really have any strong black male presence in that show, and the strongest male presence was the white doctor, who was initially her boss. So also with Diane Carroll, I look at the comedy. I call it I don't call it a comedy. It's a tragedy to me. It's called Claudine. It's the comedy featuring Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones as a love interest. But Diane Carroll is a divorcee with like 6 children, and James Earl Jones is a sanitation worker. And here's the thing: Diane Carroll, she's working, but she got to hide the fact that she's working from a social worker, or they'll cut off her welfare benefits. And she cannot let her social worker know that she's dating a black man or anybody, because they'll cut off her welfare benefits. And what people don't realize, the welfare, in order for black people to get welfare or black family to get welfare, they could not have a black man in the home. So the system has been used to break up the black family over and over again, whether it be slavery, whether it be welfare, whether it be media predictive programming. The system has used several different ways to break up the black family. So this comedy, I say, is a tragedy. Introduce this. It illustrates this perfectly, because when the social worker comes over, when James Earl Jones' character Rupert is over Diane Carroll's, Claudine's house, he got to hide like a little kid in the closet or whatnot. He got to hide when the white lady comes around to make sure that he doesn't get caught. And then it talks about the issue of child support. And I think they know child support, juvenile court should be abolished, because all it does is it exploits black men. Black men are the main people that keep that system going. They always using black lives to create white wealth, white generational wealth. They are always exploiting black lives. And juvenile court, the child support system, is a great example of that, because here's this black man. He's a good black man. He got a job, but he's not making enough to cover all his, child support payments. So they're trying to garnish his check, or they are garnishing his check in the movie. So I would say people look at the movie Claudine, study the show Julia, and also look at Mary Tyler Moore in a different light. Was it a Trojan horse? These shows. Because basically I had a chance, like I said, again, to interview Eric Monty, the creator of Good Times, the creator of the Jeffersons, and also the guy who wrote the great movie Coolie High. It's about his life growing up in the projects in the South Side of Chicago. So Coolie High is about Eric Monty's life, the creator of Good Times. And he basically tried to lead a one-man protest back in the 70s to take on Hollywood. And he said back then that they're trying to destroy the image of the black man and the black family. And he could not find a lawyer in the country hardly to take his case. He went to the NAACP, nobody responded. Now you got to think about it. This is at the same time the NAACP, especially the Hollywood branch, was boycotting Step and Fetch It. They destroyed the career of Step and Fetch It, but they did not control, or rather they did not destroy the machine that created the stepping fetches, the Amos and Andes. But here they are, they want to destroy a black man's career, but they want to destroy this system that exploits and belittles black humanity. And you have Eric Monte, who's a Hollywood insider, saying this is what they're trying to do to black people and the image of the black family and how that is projected throughout the world. And nobody comes to a defense. He said he went to Jesse Jackson. Nobody responded. But think about decades later when people talk about Oscar's so white. Oscar's so white. They so white because we didn't do anything about it. And why should we care about the Oscars? That's another show. But what I'm saying is that if Eric Monte knew about this in the 70s, he didn't have no social media back then. We didn't have no internet back then. Then why can't so many of us figure it out now? That they're not only doing this with our TV shows and movies, but with our food and with other things as well, with our education or miseducation. So, family, shows like Mary Tyler Moore, were they used to destroy the black family or the idea of a traditional family in general. If you like what you heard, please feel free to subscribe and share and spread the word. You also could support us. You could donate. You know, we got all the information at the bottom of the screen, how you can support the We All Be movement and donate. And know, family, that the best is yet to come. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. One love. Peace.